The first one is Sir Marcus Rashford coming the £30 food packages they're supposed to be distributing for the kids that are at home right now, who are not able to get free meals from the government. The pictures are so pathetic. Like, as usual, the government show some form of incompetence in relation to, you know, delivering things that they said they were gonna do in the first place. I'm not surprised. I'll make sure I put the pictures you know, in the video, but like £30, and because someone actually put certain prices on it, and I think the whole thing would have been less than £6. But bear in mind, these companies have been given £30 for each child to, you know, to for these packages basically from the government. But yet I'm gonna call it what it is, innit? It's corruption. So, you know, these companies are keeping these they're penny pinching to keep the money for themselves. Even like there's like 3 bottles of water, a little banana, bread. You know, one of the pictures was like a half cut pepper. Like, what it is genuinely corruption, and some of these things will genuinely never change until the mentality right at the top, right, changes, or even the personnel right at the top changes. But again, these things can go back all the way to the PPE situation where Boris was giving out, you know, some of these contracts to some of his MP friends, people that had no idea how to, you know, produce what was required on these contracts, but simply needed the millions because obviously there's a pandemic going on. So simply taking advantage of the situation that we're all in. Bear in mind, there are people who are out there who genuinely need their help, right? And taking it back to the kids that need the £30 packages in relation to food from the government, and then you're expecting that from, you know, coming through your door, and you've got shopping that's not even worth more than £6 with half cut pepper. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. And then the health secretary was interviewed by Piers Morgan on his morning show, and the guy literally refused to apologize and you know, as to why he voted for, you know, not supporting basically the packages, food packages for the kids in the first lockdown. As per usual, the MPs always find a way to, you know, snake around the questions and genuinely avoiding answering the questions being, you know, put to them. His reaction was basically, or his answer when Piers Morgan said, "Do you regret, or, you know, do you agree that you were wrong as to you know, you and some MPs are voting against, you know, supporting these kids so they can get, you know, free meals at home in relation to packages?" And his thing was, "No, I'm happy that right now we're doing something about it, and we're investigating into, you know, the packages that are being sent to, you know, these families, because it's unacceptable." They can never say they're wrong, and the sooner that, you know, people start you know, stop expecting them to do that, and for them to act human, actually say, "You know what, listen, I messed up on this one," you know, it means the sooner that we as the general public don't get as disappointed as we do on a weekly basis from these guys. Like, there's never any accountability, right? He's the health secretary, and he's you know, part of his job is making sure the nation's kids' health, you know, is being taken care of. And obviously these packages play a big part of that, because most of these families, obviously their parents have lost jobs, so they need the support, right? And also because school's being closed as well, it means they can't even go to school and have that free school meal they usually rely on. So it's so disappointing. And obviously, even though I'm not a big fan of Piers Morgan, you know, I do rate what he's been doing lately, where he's been, you know, calling these MPs bullshit and trying to hold them accountable. But like I said, as we've realized, they simply avoid the question and or try to find a way to speak about something else or take it in another direction, when, you know, actually genuinely avoiding the conversation at hand. Again, you know, you know, there's one person that I like watching a lot on Instagram, and he said, listen, we need to realize that government is made of people, and people have their own agendas, and because they've got their own agendas, there will never be a real accountability, right? Because everyone's got their small little agenda they're trying to, pursue in politics. So when there's always, irregularities in the whole system, we cannot be surprised, right? Because what this MP is trying to do this for their scratch this person back. Again, that's how it works. So it's so disappointing. And yes, again, a footballer is having to call him out in relation to Marcus Rashford, and having conversations again with the MP where he's gonna have to Boris, where he's gonna have to fix the way that he's employees that he's got in certain roles to do their job, right? But again, it's disappointing. But again, from 2021 or 2020 going 2021, the same incompetency of the government doesn't seem to be, lacking. There's always something coming out every single week. Again, it's very disappointing, but again, there's really not really much we can do about it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we can say, Boris step down and he's gonna step down. Like, it's just not how it's gonna work, right? Like, these guys love the fact that they're in these positions of influence and of power as well, and there's not really anyone to hold them accountable until the next election. So unless in their own party they finally grow a conscious and then they're like, listen, Boris needs to go, it's not gonna happen, right? Like, they're always gonna keep on making the same mistakes, and we're all just gonna have to keep swallowing whatever they're throwing at us, whatever excuses, whatever petty little interviews that they give us, right? And take it for what it is, because there literally isn't much we can do until the next election. But I do genuinely hope, right, on a bigger picture, that the public in general are genuinely watching what's going on, so that when it comes to, elections, we do hold these people accountable that have made millions lose their job. And I'm not saying that the COVID, I'm not saying the government 100% to blame in relation to that, but I think their means of dealing with that has made the whole fire 10 times worse, right? So I don't think when it comes to the next election, people need to remember whatever's going on now, right? Because the incompetency has been crazy. On a more serious situation, not that this one wasn't serious, but so there is a guy who lives in Wales, Mr. Hassan. I can't say his first name, so I'm just gonna go off with the last name. He was arrested and by the Welsh police, and put in custody. Whilst he's in custody of the police, he was beaten up, like really badly, beaten up, tasered, all that, and left. They released them, went home, it was all bloody, told his relatives what happened, and they're like, listen, we need to take you to hospital. He said, listen, I'm just so tired, I need to sleep. He went to bed and he never woke up. So for the past couple of days, there's been like protesters in Wales, trying to get answers basically as to why this has happened, and asking the police to release the CCTV as to what happened. I'm gonna try not to get too preachy, but this is what happens in it. Like, even the whole thing that happened in America, like, people do get it now. Like, Black Lives Matter in 2020, and they still matter now. But it seems all it takes is a few months for people to go back to being complacent again. In relation to the people in power, by the way, I'm talking about the public, right? In relation to people in power, and the fact that this has taken so long even to be on national news tells you everything, right? When it's cool, that's when we're saying Black Lives Matter, posters on on BBC, this, football, all the things. Obviously, football-wise, they're still doing their part, but I think there's certain big institutions where they are certainly doing the preachy thing when it's cool, when it suits them, but there's generally lack of action. A man has died. Something's clearly happened to him when he's in custody of the police. Why are we not trying to find out the genuine facts of what has happened? But as per usual, it takes something of, an outroar of people who are trying to get answers for there to be any form of statements. The day it happened, silence. I think I saw one post, right? It was actually one of the blogs, so that doesn't even count. I'm asking for these big newspaper, companies, as well as, the news, your ITV, your BBC News. Why don't they, try to get hold of these stories and genuinely try to get answers? Because Black Lives Matter, right? So show us and actually try to stamp out these sort of things from happening. Because the man was not even charged for anything. So how does he get arrested in suspicion of whatever and then gets beaten up senseless? What is there for him to be released with no charge and then he's dead? Like, does he always have to take something so outrageous for people to be like, okay, this is wrong, and then we act, we act like, we're doing something about it for a few, weeks, months, and then another one else, something happens and someone else goes out. We need to do better in it. As people, we genuinely need to do better, because I don't know. For me personally, I don't know how much outrage I have in me to keep on fighting a fight where you genuinely do feel as as a minority, that your voices are always heard in tragedy, and as a society, genuinely, it's something we need to do better. But in also these people in power, and I genuinely cannot wait until there's new blood right at the top, because we need a real change. And like I said, the amount of agendas that that can get put into play, mostly with today's politics, is genuinely disgusting, right? Like, even like I spoke about last week, the amount of U-turns that Boris does, there's always some form of agenda because he needs to be elected for a second term. So he does things most of the time he doesn't want to do, because then when it's decided, okay, maybe this might be great for me, that U-turn will benefit him. Boris is so stubborn that he will never get involved in something unless it benefits him. If the Prime Minister is for the people, why aren't you talking about this? These are the people who are paid to protect us, right? And if that hasn't happened, there needs to be consistency. Like I always say, like, the amount of faith in the police that mostly the Asian and the Black community have, the lack of faith they have in or don't have in the police, that is something that needs to be genuinely worked on. So we're talking about here about an innocent man who has died and who has been beaten senselessly. That's not how you say the word, but we're going to skip over that. German, so answers are required, so therefore they should be coming out ASAP. Because it's not good enough, man. It's not good enough. And we need to do better. Anyway, going back to COVID, apparently Morrison and Sainsbury's have put out a statement saying, listen, if our customers come out here and are not wearing masks, you're not coming in to shop in the shop. They can try it, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's going to work. And who are they going to have to install those rules? Obviously, it'd be great. It'd be great. For them to, obviously, it's nice that they've put those statements out. But unless there's literally a policeman, woman, who's stood outside the store making sure this is happening, come on, all you're gonna cause now is fights, innit? Like, I doubt if I work in Sainsbury's or whatever, Asda, the first thing I'm gonna be doing on my shift is fighting some old lady as to why she should wear a mask because it's good for her. Like, it's a nice thought, but how are you gonna police that? Like, how are you gonna make sure that that is put into place and people are following it? People just cannot be asked. People are fed up in it. Like, it's almost like, every man for himself sort of energy now, where people are like, listen, I'm gonna do my part and make sure that I'm safe. But because for me, the amount of people that I will see where they're not wearing masks, I don't care enough about you. Sorry, I don't care enough about you to stop what I'm doing and be like, listen, wear a mask. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's a statement thing just for them to look like they're doing something, because people are genuinely dying. In thousands, people are dying. So I get it from their side, because they're trying to make sure that, their business and their employees feel as safe as possible. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with that, but I don't think it's something they're going to be able to enforce properly, unless they get help from the from the government, which obviously, but the government, I mean the police. I don't think I genuinely don't see how you enforce that. It's just gonna cause a whole lot of unwanted aggro for the employees for these supermarkets. So I do think it's actually smarter to just try to, if generally that is an objective for these supermarkets, get the government to help you in relation to getting the right security and you actually enforce it properly. But if you're trying to get your own employees to do that, no. I don't want to be seeing, someone's mum, having had punched in the face by someone because they were telling them you can't come in the store unless you got a mask. Do you know what I mean? We don't want that. So there needs to be a way to definitely enforce that in the right way so that people do listen. But yeah, that's about it. So see you guys next week. Hopefully my voice and this COVID would have bounced by then. But yeah, look after yourselves and peace.